Hi, this is Anna Imagination with the Healing Garden, and thank you for joining at Anna's Lounge. So this is just I was thinking about time, and when I was thinking about it, I started to like reverse engineer it, and I realized what it is. It basically is a thing that began when people started to feel impatient. So I am a huge believer that if you feel the feeling impatience, that is actually you needing to, you're basically refusing a lesson. You're being told, hey, it's time to learn a lesson, and you're not learning it. And the feeling of impatience is the resistance to learning a lesson. That's what it is. Again, so the impatience is resistance to learning a lesson. So when you change your mind about impatience, when you feel the emotion impatience, pause and then ask yourself, what am I supposed to be learning? And it completely changes the way that you view patience. And I believe that when time was created, just the concept of time, when you look at how time is, it's very much basically a bully concept that was invented to push people along who did not want to pause and learn the lesson. So the concept of bills becoming due, the concept of a schedule and having to be to work at a certain time, all of those things started to really infest into our culture. And I love thinking back to early man. At what point did time become urgent? At what point did somebody say time has to dictate everything? And I love this one documentary I watched where it was basically a storyline documentary where it created fictional characters to tell the story of how man during a society understood that you can grow food out of seed. It was the beginning of agriculture. And I love that kind of documentary so much. And it was basically, it depicts, and there were so many of them that I watched at that time where they depicted all of these different settings and concepts. And one of the things that I saw a lot about was regarding perspective psychology and how, if you think back to that time period, at what point someone started to say, no, things need to be, and I know what it is. It's the calendar. The calendar did it. It's the calendar's fault. I did a lot of research on calendars and clocks, and the history of the Roman calendar is absolutely one of my favorites. And if you look at how the Roman calendar is different very much from the Old Norse calendar, now the Old Norse calendar is built off of the moon. I am such a fucking nerd. It's disgusting. So the Norse calendar is based off of the moon. And ironically, it's stable, it's consistent. There's no need to adjust it. And it's the calendar I live by is the Viking calendar. And it's 100% dictated on the moon, which is the energy. Likewise, when you look over at the Roman calendar, you have three evolutions of the Roman calendar. First, you have the Roman calendar, which only had 10 months. And then you had the Julian calendar, which is the calendar that Julius Caesar recreated based off of the Roman calendar, where he decided to put in his own name and his cousin's name into the calendar, hence July and August. And that became the Julian calendar, which is why December, which is Deca, which is 10, got bumped to the 12th month of the year, which is just weird. And September, which means seventh month, September, got bumped to being the 10th month. November, Nov, N-O-V has roots. I can't remember. I think it's Latin. It has roots, and that is the number for 9. And August is Augustus. Julius is July is Julius. So you could see how these numbers. October is 8. That's 8. So these months literally got pushed, and then it was redone again by Saint Gregorius, I believe his name is Saint Gregorian the First. It was a pope, and he redid the calendar, and that's the one we use today. We are currently on the Gregorian calendar. Now, I personally do not use the Gregorian calendar because it's crap. That's why we have leap years. It's because, there's errors. So there's leap years. It's why we have 28 days in February or 29 days in February, but we've got 30 in some days and we've got 31 in other days or in other months. And it's because the Gregorian calendar is absolutely just not synchronized. It's a mess. It's like D&D 4.0. It's such a mess. And then when you take that Gregorian calendar and you compare it to the moon cycles, it's just a mess. The Gregorian calendar easily was one of the worst calendars ever made. So going back over to the Viking calendar, that one has got to be the most clean, smooth, most beautiful, beautiful calendar I've ever seen. So all of my everything, I'm on the moon cycle. I don't think about the sun cycle. I go by the moon cycle. And for me, the months are I absolutely just follow the full moon to full moon or the new moon to new moon. That's how I think. That's how my holidays are set up. I focus my holidays around the solstice. I have a very weird calendar schedule. Like I work on 25th of December. To me, that's a nothing day. But 21 December, now that's the solstice, and I do things on the solstice. I recognize the solstice in June. The summer solstice and the winter solstice are huge for me. And those are the big ones. Those to me are the really big ones. And that's pretty much it. And then of course, Samhain, like, oh yes, Halloween. Yes, Halloween is the big event of my year. Like Halloween is my thing. So yeah, I can already feel it too. I'm just like, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, we are all set, but it's just putting that out there. When you think about time in general, it's 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 an abstract concept. Like in the society that I am building, in my mind and outside of the patriarchy, there is no time here. There is no it's a thing that you see even when you go to events, you kind of go when you get there and you stay until you leave. There is no now when I host things, yeah, when I host things, I think honestly, and the more I think about it, like Thursdays, I have my things, my Q&As at 6 o'clock. So those will be okay. I'll be there. My meditations or my courses at 8 a.m. That's just because it's whimsically how it fell. But my schedule revolved around my whim, and then it built up a pattern. So when I do things is not dictated by the calendar. It's when I want to do them. And again, it's only a very, very minor tool. And this is what I love about calendars and time today is once everyone gets into the online and you start to really sit with your whim, it doesn't matter when I post the video as long as it's consistent. It doesn't matter the when, the precise hour, the precise minute. And to be honest with you, time is absolutely a control. It's a control tool. And people use time to control other people. It's just another form of perspective abuse because you're getting to a point where time suddenly is elevated in importance and suddenly everything needs to revolve around a schedule and a time. Yeah, it's not, it doesn't fit me. I can feel every part of my body going, but why? But why? Where did this start? And it really starts with once you get a society that functions around commerce. And I'm having a lot of thoughts on money, and a lot of things just shifted with money. A couple days ago, I was able to see the full money field, and I went, "Whoa, I can see that. I can see it," and that's extraordinary. And I can see the energy moving, the energy money moving and flowing like like karma, exactly like karma. It's extraordinary, and it's all about bartering trade and it's interesting because we've literally elevated money to this non-existent status in our brains, and it's downgrading money. Downgrade the status. I have to do a whole video on that, but that's my thought. And this is my first day where I've done my new schedule, and I love it. Where it's okay, I'm going to start right off, and I'm going to do my classes in the morning, and then at 11 o'clock I did my meditation. And then I took a break, and then I started working on the website. And now I'm just doing Anna's Lounge, and I can do Anna's Lounge for the rest of the day. And I love that because I did my class in the morning, I did my meditation, and now I'm just going to do my lounging and I'm good. So if you love shit like this, subscribe, like, follow, comment below. Tell me what part of the video that resonated with you. And if you want to join the university, go ahead and grab on over to annashealinggarden.org. Click on Get Started, and you can start getting into Triadic healing. The university is free. You can get enrolled in the classes. It's a lot, but we take you literally from wherever you are all the way to as far as you want to take your healing. And as far as what our primary focus is, whenever we do a class, the whole Triadic healing program is focused on manifestation, authentic living, and healing, trauma, recovery, getting you to optimum mental wealth. Those are the three things we focus on. So thank you so much. And may the kindest of words always find you.